Hey everyone, welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage on this Sunday, August 4th, 2024. And in today's weather forecast, Tropical Storm Debby is the main highlight in today's video, as it will make landfall in Florida as a hurricane as we go into early this work week. And we're going to be tracking the impacts that Debby will have on the southeast coast as well. And excessive heat will continue across much of the United States as we go into the work week, and this could fuel some severe storms. We'll dive into everything that you need to know in today's weather forecast. So it's best to subscribe to the channel so you have the latest weather information right at your fingertips here on Weather on the Go. Make sure to leave any comments, questions, concerns below. We'll answer as many questions as we can. And also be sure, if you do like today's weather forecast, to give it a like down below. It helps out more than you know. So let's get into today's weather forecast here. This is Tropical Storm Debby, just west here of the Sunshine State, and it's not very sunshiny down here today. We actually have a lot of cloud cover and some outer bands of precipitation moving into the state of Florida as we round out the weekend here on Sunday. And look at the deep convection here, these very tall thunderstorm tops here just off the coast of Florida as Debby starts to organize. Here is the latest cone of uncertainty from the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida. Actually has it as a Category 1 hurricane as we go into tonight, and then making landfall as a Category 1 hurricane here in the Big Bend of Florida as we go into tomorrow morning on Monday. Then as it has more land interaction, it's going to slow down here across southern and southeastern Georgia and near the South Carolina area here as well as we go into Monday evening, Tuesday evening, and Wednesday. So currently Debby is maximum sustained winds of 65 miles per hour. So this is characterized as a strong tropical storm. Movement is north-northwest at 13 miles per hour here. So it's remaining over the very warm open waters of the eastern Gulf of Mexico. So here's the consensus here this afternoon. This system is likely to strengthen even further here, possibly to a 70 mile per hour tropical storm, if not a Category 1 hurricane at 75 miles per hour as we go into this afternoon or this evening. Then as it makes landfall there in the Big Bend of Florida Monday morning, this could lead to potentially some very significant rainfall. Storm surge could be very significant here as well, and we're also going to be seeing some strong winds, possibly over 75-80 miles per hour as this makes landfall. And looking at the storm surge map here, the latest on this, we could have a storm surge approaching 10 feet in some areas here of the Big Bend of Florida, 4 to 7 feet here on either side of that as well. And then as you get further south toward Tampa Bay there, we could see anywhere from 3 to 5 foot storm surge there. Further south, Fort Myers, Naples, you guys could see 2 to 4 foot storm surge. And then the further south you go toward the Keys, you're going to see more of those 1 to 3 foot storm surge. Also, for the Carolinas, down here in towards the coast of Georgia, from Myrtle Beach all the way down to Charleston, Savannah, Georgia, we could be having 2 to 4 foot storm surge as we go through the height of the event of this storm. So as we go into Monday afternoon, it's going to start to slow down as it crosses into North Florida and southern Georgia here and interacts with a lot of that land. Very heavy rainfall rates in excess of 2-3 inches per hour definitely on the table here as we go into Tuesday morning. That's going to crawl up into southeastern Georgia here, and we could see some very heavy flooding rains for places like Savannah, Charleston, all the way up to Myrtle Beach there Tuesday morning. Continuing Tuesday afternoon here as that low just kind of sits over southern South Carolina. Whether or not it's over land or over water is a bit uncertain right now for Tuesday afternoon, and also for Wednesday morning here. Does it go over water? Does it stay over land? That is a big question mark right now. If it goes over water, this is going to strengthen up even further and possibly re-strengthen to a hurricane. If it remains over land, it will remain a tropical storm, if not downgraded to a tropical depression. So there's two big differences there. If it goes over water, it'll get stronger. If it's over land, it'll stay weaker, at least with the winds, but the rainfall aspects are going to be very significant. Look at the heavy rainfall with this. In these reds, we could be seeing anywhere from 12 to 16 inches of rainfall, folks, and that's pretty widespread. Maroon reds from Myrtle Beach all the way down to Charleston there and towards Savannah, Georgia area, we could be seeing 16 to 20 inches of rain. And yes, Savannah, Georgia itself and parts of southern portions of South Carolina, we could be seeing over 2 feet worth of rainfall. And this takes you through Friday, August the 9th. And this is actually an area in eastern South Carolina, parts of eastern Georgia, that where we have some high confidence of some widespread destructive flash flooding in this area. And then even outside of that, places like Wilmington, North Carolina, Augusta, Jacksonville, Tallahassee, all the way down toward Tampa Bay, we have that moderate risk for flash flooding through Friday. So what does a moderate high risk for flash flooding mean? A moderate risk, numerous flash floods are likely. These could be significant, and we also could be seeing some area rivers being affected significantly as well. A high risk for flash flooding. Widespread flash floods are expected. They could be severe, very widespread. Areas that don't normally experience flooding could, and lives and property are in greater danger with a high risk for flash flooding. You definitely need to seek higher ground. So that's what we're seeing with Debbie. Across the rest of the country here, we're still dealing with that ridge of high pressure across the west. That's going to be bringing a lot more excessive heat here and really extreme heat across the desert Southwest. We do have excessive heat warnings into places like Southern California, Southern Nevada, Western Arizona, and up in there into Utah. Red flag warnings with very high fire danger across portions of the Rockies as we go through the rest of the weekend here. Here are your high temperatures this afternoon. We have 90s, triple digits all across the central southern plains, and then back there into the desert Southwest, scorching hot temperatures approaching 115, 120 in some areas this afternoon. Factor in the moisture content in the atmosphere. This is what the air will feel like to the body as you step outdoors. Could feel like 105 today in Omaha, 102 this afternoon in Des Moines, 99 in St. Louis, and 96 in Kansas City, Missouri. So make sure you are staying hydrated. And if your job ventures you outdoors or you have any outdoor plans today, make sure to take frequent breaks in shaded areas and air-conditioned areas as well. That is very important. Also, have a radar app handy because we could see some severe weather. Yesterday, we actually had a tornado or at least a landspout observed in central Minnesota. A lot of wind reports from the I-95 corridor in the New England region all the way down into the southeast. A lot of wind reports. We actually had 190 wind reports yesterday all across the United States. As we go through today, we have 3 different areas of a marginal risk of severe weather. One over here in toward Montana, northern Wyoming, and the western Dakotas. Another one over here into parts of southern Minnesota, western Wisconsin, and northern Iowa. And then another one over here into the northeast. This area down here into Florida, a slight risk of severe weather. That's just for tornadic potential with tropical storm and eventually Hurricane Debby. So that is what they're seeing down there. Looking here at this afternoon, we are seeing more isolated coverage of storms this afternoon. So not everybody will be seeing a storm, certainly, but there could be some heavier downpours, some damaging winds and large hail with any storms that do pop up this afternoon. As we head into the evening, more scattered coverage as we go into the evening hours, and then some more organized coverage of storms across the northern tier of the United States, like the Dakotas, Minnesota, northern Iowa, as we go into early Monday morning. That'll be something we'll have to watch out for. The northeast will start to quiet down, though, with the severe weather by then. Going through next week, we're going to see that ridge of high pressure really just remain locked in place across the desert Southwest. So what that means is much of the same. We're going to be seeing more record high temperatures possible across the west and the southwest with excessive heat warnings, heat advisories, stuff like that. Across the north, a little bit of a boundary setting up. So to the north of the boundary, we're going to be cooler than normal. Temperatures actually approaching 15 degrees below normal in parts of Montana, the Dakotas, and the southern Canadian prairies as we do go through the new work week here. And that is the very area near that boundary is where we're going to see that moisture squeezed out in the form of showers and storms. And some of those, unfortunately, could be severe. So make sure to, again, have a radar app handy in case you do have some outdoor errands to run here throughout the week. All the precipitation here in the blues across the East Coast, that is all tied to moisture from a tropical storm and, again, eventually Hurricane Debby. So that is something that will be impacting the eastern U.S. as we go through the week. Severe weather near that boundary is going to be possible from the northeast into the Midwest region here As we go into the start of the work week on Monday, August 5th, we do have a slight risk from near Rochester, Minnesota, down here into Waterloo, Iowa, Rockford, and over there towards Chicago, Madison, Wisconsin, and Prairie du Chien. Some of those areas we'll have to watch out there. Over here to the northeast, we got to keep an eye on areas over here in toward Boston, in toward Albany, and even into the Pittsburgh region. We may have to be watching out for some severe weather as well on Monday. Again, mainly damaging winds, large hail, but a few tornadoes will be possible. Here we go Monday afternoon, storms developing across the upper Midwest. They'll start to get going more into Wisconsin, southeast Minnesota, northeast Iowa Monday evening. More scattered coverage there across the northeast. And then as we go into early Tuesday morning, those will continue into lower Michigan, over here into southern Wisconsin, and then more scattered activity from Pennsylvania into southern New York State. As we go into Tuesday, that boundary's still there. We have another level 1 out of 5 marginal risk of severe weather on Tuesday, August 6th from southeastern Montana, northeastern Wyoming into the western Dakotas, another area into eastern Illinois through Indiana, Ohio, northern West Virginia, Pennsylvania, all the way over here into Long Island, Hartford areas there into Connecticut, Rhode Island. You guys understand there could be some severe weather as we go into Tuesday. Overall, rainfall amounts through this work week are going to be plentiful. If you live in the East Coast, Boston, all the way down to Jacksonville, Tallahassee, Orlando, you're going to see your fair share of several inches of accumulating rain tied to Tropical Storm and again eventually Hurricane Debby. And then we're going to be seeing more heavier rains on the order of 1 to 3 inches across the north as we go through the work week Monday, August 5th here tomorrow through Friday, August 9th. Very dry across the southern plains into the mid-Mississippi Valley. Probably not a drop of rain through the week, and very dry, bone dry if that, across portions of Washington State, Oregon, California, Nevada, much of Idaho, Utah, and Arizona. So make sure stay hydrated if you're in areas of heat, and if you do venture outdoors, again, make sure to take frequent breaks in the shade and find air conditioning if possible. So that is very important. Subscribe to the channel for the latest weather information here as we continue to track Hurricane Debby here right on this channel. We'll have another video forecast for you tomorrow. Be watching out on the community tab. We'll be posting updates throughout the event as well. If you did like today's weather forecast, give it a like, give it a thumbs up down below. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. We'll get to those later on today as those are very important in answering all your questions that you do have. A landfalling hurricane in Florida is expected on Monday, at least as a Category 1 hurricane. Excessive heat is expected to build across the desert Southwest. More record high temperatures expected there. Rounds of severe storms possible, mainly across the north as we go through the week. Make sure to have a radar app handy and an umbrella handy in case those storms be rumbling in as you go to and from work as we go through the week. Thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday out there.